giddy up and get away. Oh, we're going Millwall and we're going today. Here we go, rocking all over the dance. And I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it.
Saville to take, left-footed. Into the box, into a dangerous area.
Yeah! Millwall have the goal! Japhet Tanganga! 90th minute goal for the Lions. What a header, how vital that can be for the season. 1-0. Get in there, Japhet Tanganga with a huge goal at the end. Millwall lead 1-0. It's the first corner that we've met in the afternoon, and it's Japhet Tanganga. He heads us into the lead. The Coldblow Lane goes wild. The Dockers stand wild. 1-0 Millwall. What a header that is from Tanganga. The delivery spot on, and he heads it into the bottom corner. What a huge...
Oh, giddy up and get away. Oh, we're going Millwall and we're going today. Here we go, rocking all over the dance. And I like it, 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 la like it. We go, rocking all over the dance.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Night Show after Birmingham. I couldn't resist. I'm really sorry, but listen, we don't own the copyright to that. That is Millwall and EFL. And if you're watching this now and you haven't seen something at the beginning, then that's because they've copyright strikes and I've taken it out. Hence why it's at the beginning. But, you know, it's fair use, mate. It's 30 seconds. Get over yourself. Come on. Right then, we are joined by Negative Dan, Train Spotting Dan. Oh, I don't fucking know. It's new birthday, Dan. How you doing, Dan? You all right?
Yeah, I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. Yeah, just wanted to say firstly, good to be back on the lives. I don't think I've done one for a while, so I'm looking forward to getting the usual abuse from the listeners. But I'm glad you can all join us tonight to celebrate. Secondly, great to get the copyright strike out the way early doors. Usually we wait until the very end, so nice to get it done quite quickly. And thirdly, on the commentary, he says the Dockers go wild, the Coldblow Lane goes wild. So I want anyone in the Barry Kitchen to tell me, was you just in the library or something? I just need to know what's going on there.
Yeah. It was just, it was done, wasn't it? You know, unfortunately, yeah, we missed an opportunity there, didn't we, Connor? Really, none of us, I think, have got a can of tango on the go, mate. But unfortunately, yeah, we missed one there. But you know, anyone from Britfit want to get in touch, we're happy to do a sponsorship deal with us. So yeah, Stephen, hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, you all over your away day midweek with the likes of young Ben and Omar. Did you survive? We heard you drive a bit like Miss Daisy.
I mean, that's not strictly true. Omar's massively thrown me under the bus there. Yeah. But no, it's good. Really good away day. Good to see Ben and obviously Omar. And obviously we'll move on to the game, but wasn't sure if it was a good point leaving the ground, but after leaving the ground yesterday, it certainly was.
Can I just say quickly before we introduce our last guest, public apology to Stephen, Ben and Omar, because I've assumed Ben was going to go, but I kind of talked Omar and Stephen into going to the game just to not end up going myself. So
and buggering off abroad. Yeah, off abroad.
Pretty much. So public apology to them chaps.
OAP Lions, man and boy, have a great show. Cheers, Ken. And obviously we are joined by the one and only newbie, I suppose. Now Dan's been upgraded. Now he's now the newbie. He's Jay. How you doing, Jay? You all right, fella?
Evening, chaps. All good, mate. All good. Another Sunday night live after a win, back-to-back home win. So yeah, good stuff.
That's it. Just like the feeling by a song after the game, Walking on the Moon by the Police. Yeah, Omar said your driving was harder to watch than the game itself.
Yeah, I watch the show, guys. I do watch the show when I'm not on it, so I always support them. And I did hear it, and I thought, no, I'll let him have that. I'm not going to get involved, but not strictly true. But hey ho.
there we go. And it's so, yes. So 10 points out of 12. Not bad. I think we'll
Not
take
bad.
that. I think we'll take that when we, do you know what I mean? You know,
We'll
I think
take
it's, I think we'll take it. But it's like what we said. Regardless of what your thoughts are on Neil, whether or not you think it's good or bad or whatever, the man definitely goes. He goes to war, doesn't he? When he wants to go to war, he goes to war, and he sees things, and he just he wants to do different things and whatnot, because I don't think realistically that the players where they are at the moment were been there with either Rowett or Edwards, to be fair.
I think just to start on that, if Joe Edwards was still the manager over these 4 games, we would have been 23rd in the league and staring down the barrel.
I think if he was, I probably would have already resigned myself to go into Northampton, Burton, and Lincoln next season.
Absolutely. And I'm pro Neil Harris, or pro Neil Harris for this season at least. And I think if any manager in world football took a job and earned 10 points from their first 12 games, they'd be seen as a miracle worker. Everyone would be talking about how fantastic they are.
Hang on. Say that again. Scored 10 points from their first 12 games.
10 points from available 12 points, right?
It's all right. He picked me up earlier because I put something on YouTube earlier, and he picked me up. And if you go back on YouTube, it looks as if he's talking bollocks, because obviously I've got the power of editing, and he hasn't.
That's anyway. 10 points from 12. Thanks, Mickey, interrupting the flow. They'd be lauded as a it'd be a fantastic appointment. There's still people unhappy with him, and look, we all know the score. We all know why he was brought in, and we all know that come the summer it might be a different story. But right now we needed points. We keep calling it cup finals. We keep saying the same thing each week. We've had 4 cup finals. We've won 3 of them, and we've got a point from another. I don't think you can really ask for much more than that, personally.
No, I'll tell you one thing as well. I watched a bit of the Huddersfield West Brom game earlier today, and
what a goal!
Yeah, what a third goal! Great strike, wasn't it, from Okayu Koslu? So a bit scary. We've got to face West Brom. Obviously, Leeds and West Brom are our next 2 games, and a lot of things could change in our next 2 games. So they're 2 very tough games. Mill will probably win there and then go and lose away at Rotherham.
But the thing is, though, Dan, off the back of that, is that we've give ourselves some breathing room going into these 2 tough games now. Going away to Leeds, the pressure is not alleviated because we're still in trouble, but we can have a bit more freedom now. We don't have to panic, and we can take a breather now. And you never know, we might go to Leeds and get something. You flip the form table on its head, we're right up the top there. We're like 3rd in the league at the moment.
Yeah,
since Harry's come in.
That's what I was going to say, because on Sky Sports earlier, they put up the relegation graphic, and they actually didn't put Millwall in it. So I do think it's still a little bit early to be counting chickens at the moment.
Watford can still technically, they're closer to the relegation zone than they are to the playoffs.
Norwich. Norwich.
Sorry.
I still think we probably need two wins and a couple of draws. 3 wins would absolutely make sure for me, I think. Yeah. To be completely honest.
I think I said 2 wins without return from Huddersfield and Sheffield Wednesday. I think would seal it. One of them wins being at Huddersfield. I think if we beat Huddersfield, you could probably lose, and you could probably not have to win another game out of that, because that's obviously a game down for Huddersfield. That's an extra 3 points. That's essentially a 6-point swing with the games that we've got left. So I'm with you. I think 2 wins will do it. I think it'll come.
Of draws in there as well.
We ain't gonna get 6 points and then not win a game or get a point. So it's I'm also quite confident.
I think Dan Riggs is on spice, mate. You see that comment there? Neil Harris is still registered. Hearing Neil Harris is still registered as a player. If safe by Plymouth, imagine he comes on for the last 10 minutes. Can you imagine if we were like get down to the last 2 games and there was still an off chance that we could get into the playoffs?
We might need him.
Decides to come on.
We might need him. We've got no strikers.
I think if there was a point where he was needed, it was when he was managing Gillingham at the start of last season. They scored like 7 goals in the first half of last season, and he didn't chuck his boots on. So I don't think he's going to do it for us. I mean, it would obviously be funny if he did. So Yeah, but fantastic run of form, getting us back up, proving what I've kind of thought all along, to be honest, that this isn't a bad group of players. I think more than the quality, I think there's been big mentality kind of problems, and Harris has came in and kind of switched that mentality straight away, which is obviously what we needed.
No, exactly. Let's just come on to this comment, Danny. Danny, what we're saying is we don't knock back Harris, right? Harris is great at motivation. He knows all the players, and he knows the club inside out and all that. And going to war, there is no one better than having Neil in those trenches. But what we're saying is going forward is Neil the man. And that's where we're saying right now, absolutely back him to the hill. But what I'm saying is that, if he was here in 2 years' time, would you back him for that? That's I think where we are. None of us are saying that. No, I just think it's, for a business point of view, fantastic, and what he's done, fantastic, and you can't take that away from him. And I wouldn't try to take any of it away from him. What we say on these shows, we own, compared to some of the others who basically reckoned that Tandanga was going to be playing for Bromley next season. Well, he don't seem that bad at the moment, does he?
listen, look, not being funny, but like you just said, we know the reason Neil was brought in. We can't look to the future as of yet. But Neil Harris, if he keeps us up, he ain't going to be short of suitors himself with people out of jobs, let me tell you, because he has done a remarkable job. And the way he installs belief and the mentality, there is no one better. And as Dan just said, this ain't a bad group of players. Some of the players that we probably wouldn't want to play in the team under an Edwards or Rout or someone else, they're 100%. performing 110%. They're giving everything for the shirt. Why wouldn't you want these players around? And you can't grumble at the team selections. That's a big debate with certain players not playing. But
I will grumble
10
at one
points from
player
12.
later.
And I think I probably know who that is, but we if Harris is in charge for a reason, and we're in the stands for a reason, and so far, all the complaining that a lot of the fans have done, us sometimes as well, myself included, we've got 10 points from 12 games. Who the fuck are we? Do you know what I mean? Let the man do his job. The man's here for one reason only, and if he does that job, fair play to him.
Listen, right, he's a manager of a football club, right? Steve Kavanagh is the CEO of the football club. Head coach, whatever you want to do. Now those things. And listen, right, it's our God-given right to basically moan, groan, call it what it was. Because if we come on here every week with every manager we have, every person of staff within the thing, and go, they're the best, our listed account would be going, because what's the point? We don't bullshit. We say it how it is. And look, at the time, yes, Harris is good for business purposes, but in the development of taking the club forward, is he the right person? And I think the jury's out. Yes, he's doing well now, but he has to do well because he needs to go out there and prove a point. So, right now, right this minute, fucking support him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Rout was shit. Rout wasn't. I think there was a comment there with it where where someone was saying there is that right. With there. All I was saying was, when I had that rant, was go out there and show what you're about. Because when you were playing under Edwards, when the players were playing under Edwards, whether that's Edwards didn't have enough to G him up, or the fact that they just didn't care what said afterwards, that Edwards didn't have no gumph about him to rip him a new arsehole afterwards, it was all nicely. Well, the difference is now that with Harris is that if you don't fucking do what he wants to do, then I wouldn't want to be on the end of that. If you come in and few silly mistakes cost you a loss when you should have won, I wouldn't want to be in that dressing room. You'd rip you a new arsehole. It'd fucking absolutely terrorise you.
What I would say though, and that's all well and good that Edwards might have been too nice, but I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it because it's what I believe. Joe Edwards was asking a bunch of footballers to play a style of football and a system of football they could not play. They were not good enough to play the way Joe Edwards wanted them to play. Neil Harris hasn't reinvented the wheel. He's taken us back to 4-4-2, which is what football was being played in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you name it.
4-2-3-1.
It's a variation of 4-4-2. Let's be honest. Fleming pushes further forward. It's a flat back four and four in midfield, right? The two centre halves don't passes do they really play between each other? Yeah, there's a few, but they try to get rid of it quickly. They're not trying to play pretty tick-attack of Barcelona football. They're doing their jobs and they're grafting. Joe Edwards was trying to reinvent the wheel. He said he wasn't going to do that, and it got towards the end that it basically that's what he was trying to do. And another point on Harris, that you guys were talking about, he was brought in and other clubs might be looking at him. Do you not think that Neil Harris just resonates with this football club?
He does. You heard what he said after the game yesterday.
Other clubs might look at him, and other clubs might go, he's done a really good job going in at Millwall, and he's got X amount of points, but he just gets the football club. He gets what it is. It's never, and it won't be a long-term solution. But what we needed right now, we got in abundance.
Mike's got a good point there. He could turn up in a black turtleneck jumper, and people would say he's not Pep. And then why don't we just get Pep? Look, at the end of the day, Edwards was the right manager to take us forward, but at the wrong time. I
do disagree with that statement personally. I just don't think the bloke was good enough, and I think the stats back it up regardless. Even if you can say I think he was at the wrong time.
If we come in with our youth set up, the new training facility, everything all ready to go, and we had a good youth prospects coming through. I know we've got now, but I mean, under a proper development system, what we'll have at the new training ground. Andy got a bit of money in the kitty. Andy come in earlier than where he did. I think things would be different.
Things might have been different, but I don't see the hype. I called Joe out on it the other week when I did a show with Joe, and Joe was like, "Can we get Edwards back in the summer?" I was like, "No, I don't want to get Edwards back. I just don't think I just don't see what people are seeing in him, other than the fact he's young and English."
I agree with the statement in terms of the type of manager that we should be looking at. He's the right type of manager, young, upcoming, lots of ideas, little bit of a black book. He's been around and coached a bit and wants to take us into this progressive modern day football at the wrong time. So I agree with the whole premise of that type of manager. Joe Edwards outline as such. Was Joe Edwards the actual guy?
No.
At the wrong time. He hasn't had a managerial job before. A very good coach by all accounts, but we can't definitively make any sort of judgment on that because he's got the worst managerial record I think I've seen ever. I think Steve Claridge is the only person at Millwall who had a worse record than him, and he lasted 24 hours. So, Joe Edwards, the person, maybe not, but Joe Edwards, the outline of what we should be looking at, 100%.
Do you know what? What Hughes said there is it. Someone on Twitter asked, what's easier, getting Harris to change style or finding a good coach and getting them to get Millwall? I think the problem is that there's been plenty of managers over the years all come in, sat down and done that same thing of, I get Millwall and I get and none of them ever have.
No.
They're probably the closest one who possibly sort of understood it might have been Steve Lomas because of obviously, where he come from and stuff. But, that was never going to work out. But, Ian Holloway, it didn't. It was all motivational bullshit with all the signs all over the dressing room and all that. I mean, Kenny Jackett maybe was probably the last one apart from Neil.
Yeah, I'd say Kenny Jackett.
But let's not take the credit away from Gary Rowett. I mean, Gary Rowett was a good manager for Millwall.
He was a good manager, yeah. He never really got us properly, did he? He showed signs, never really understood us.
That man stabilised us. And
I was about to say I couldn't sit here and say he was a bad manager for us. I just think essentially he ran out of road, and there's absolutely no shame in admitting that whatsoever.
No, I
totally agree. After we got promoted, Harris couldn't get us near the playoffs. So why do we think
he did though?
Now?
The
thing I think he can now. Sorry, the thing where I think when he did for a couple of years, but he couldn't get us to the playoff for the Premier. Is that, and I think a lot of that is that the investment wasn't necessarily there to be put into the team. We needed to have a big £10 million, £10 million investment to give him a good push, because it was at the time when Morrison's legs were going. Gregory wasn't exactly the leading. We got rid of Saville. Jed was, back on his own again and stuff. And I think, there was a few different things there. But right now, it's the right time, right place, isn't it, really? The crowd want him. The board needed him. and he's doing what he needs to do. He's pretty much got a free rein to do whatever he wants.
The thing is, though,
it's win, lose, no one fucking cares. If he keeps us away from that bottom three, then you know what? Come the end of season dinner, mate, that cunt could walk on water.
Yeah, he can. But the thing is that his record at the Den is fantastic. And we did sniff the playoffs in the Championship with Neil Harris. When we come up, you know, we only missed out, I think it was 2 games away. We were sitting in 6th place.
Needed to beat Fulham.
But we went on some mad unbeaten run. We were like 16 games unbeaten. We had like 9.
17 games.
17 was it, and then we had like 9 clean sheets consecutive. I think it was. We was like FA Cup quarterfinals. Like Harris has, you know, we was not far away. Maybe with a better investment, and if Harris was a little bit more seasoned and made some better decisions, maybe in game subs, maybe, you know, a bit of management with some injuries and so on, we might have done. Harris is a different manager now. He's not able to deploy and show us how different he is because of the situation we're in. This is just get us up. So it's back against the wall, 10 men behind the ball, and we're going to hit you on the counter. But it might be different if Harris was in charge at the start of the season. It might be different the start of next season because we don't actually know how he's evolved as a manager. We know that Cambridge are very upset that he left. We know Gillingham were as well, and he'd started to do good things there. So I don't think we can definitively say that Harris is not the guy to take us forward. He's still young and he might have evolved, but we do need to go in that direction, whether it's with Harris or not. Harris will need to lay out a game plan or a progression plan to the powers to be and see if they buy it or not. But yeah, to say that Harris is totally not, just definitively not the person to take us forward, I think is a bit premature, to be honest.
Harris did get Cardiff in the playoffs with good investment.
That's what I'm saying. It's not.
Yeah. Can I?
It is what it is. Yeah. Just
can I
one
come
sec.
in? Yeah.
Dan, can you tell people to press the like button for me, mate?
Yeah, everyone press the like button, please, to celebrate 10 points from 12, to celebrate me being back, and to celebrate it going into March, which means Stephen will be wearing shorts again soon.
That's 3 things. That's a like, share, and a subscribe.
And to celebrate Mickey, I think Mickey's just got through to the European Tour darts final tonight.
I have, Rob Cross,
Yeah, we've got Littler in the final, I believe, mate.
We're not starting. We can't open that can of worms tonight.
Can I?
I weren't here, mate. I weren't here last time, so I'm happy, mate.
So can I just come in quickly? It's just I'm just going to pull up on a couple of the comments that you've previously put up, Mickey. I'm just going to flash them back up on the screen quickly, mate. So you might lose wherever you are. So apologies. But I just want to say I do agree with this comment here from John, saying the one big drawback of Harris is saying he has no pulling powers. Players don't want to send their clubs don't want to send their players on loan. I think that's kind of true when you look at like Norton Cuffey hasn't had a start yet under Harris. You've got young players like SA and Mayer who haven't seen much game time on the pitch. And Maku got 45 minutes. He might have got more, might have been down to the injury. That's one thing that I might give Edwards for in terms of the black book, because I don't think we would have got players like Tanganga and Obafemi on loan. But again, I'm going to finish up with one comment here. The problem is, I think if you leave Alex, I just don't trust Alex Aldridge in terms of recruitment. I think he's had a couple of transfer windows to try and prove himself, and I've been pretty underwhelmed with most of the signings that have been through the door.
So but Neil Harris will not put up with his shit. He will tell Neil Harris will. You see, the difference is that Neil Harris will probably tell Aldo who he wants, as in the other managers probably would sort of more invoke. That's what I'm saying. I think Harris has come in and he knows how the club runs. Most of the people in senior positions have been here the last time he was here and been here for years. So he knows everyone, and he's just literally can pretty much get away with what he can. So Dan's right. Dan Riggs is right. Didn't Mickey say a few weeks ago, bring back fight, heart and fire, and that will win you games? And I did get shot down to a degree. Some people agreed with what I said and done, and that's pretty much all. That's the only difference, really. What we've done is that Harris has come in and put a firework up and said,
"No,
go out
it's
there
not.
And finger, mate."
That's not the only difference, mate. It's not. We're not playing with the player. So if you disagree with Mickey, you get kicked off the stage. Is that how it is, mate? Is that this dictatorship that we're
No. Was it a dictatorship? Should we go back to Friday? Do you want me to start playing clips from Friday, Stephen?
Mate, all I'm saying is that if you can't just sit there. No, you cannot. You cannot sit there and say that the only thing that we have done is Harris giving them a rocket. You cannot say that. I'm sorry, but that's not right.
Do you think right now, on Saturday's game, do you think that the players are playing with something about them now? Do you think they actually want to play at the minute?
Yes, but they're also doing jobs that they can do. It's not just about someone going in there and giving them a bollocking. Nah, it's not.
This is talking bullshit, right? Because
it's not, mate.
No, it is. You're a football player. You're getting paid anything from 5, 10, 15 grand a week, right? And if you're a defender, anywhere in that defensive lineup, you should be able to play. If you're an attack, anywhere in that attacking lineup, you should play. And if you're a midfielder, anywhere within that middle, you should be able to play. Unless you're a utility player or can play in a various couple of positions. You're taking money week in, week out, right? And if you can't do that job when you're asked to be called upon to do it, then there's got to be an issue there.
No, there's not. There's not, though.
No, there's not.
They've been coached for 4 years to play a certain style of football, and someone comes in and within 2 months he's trying to get them to play football like Man City. Sorry, mate. You can't do that. You just can't do that. All right. Let me ask you this way: Would Pep Guardiola look at that and go, "Oh, let's take Jake Cooper and put him in the back of Manchester City's defence"? Not a chance. Not a chance, because he cannot do what he would want him to do. It's got nothing to do with heart and spirit. It's because he's not good enough to play the style of football that Guardiola wants him to play.
Good evening, chaps. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well, fella. I listen, right?
No, hold on. Answer the question. Would Pep Guardiola take Jake Cooper? He can play in defence.
He wouldn't take
He's a centre-back.
Team.
Exactly, because they cannot play the football that he wants them to play, which is what Joe Edwards was asking them to do.
Listen,
you've just answered it again,
mate, and sit back.
Man City.
I'm enjoying this, mate.
Man City is a Premiership team. With players earning.
All right, Leicester.
Leicester again is Premiership.
Ipswich. No, all right, Ipswich. Well, actually, Leicester are in the Championship. Ipswich, Leicester, Leeds. None of them would take them to play the football that they want to play. They wouldn't do it.
Good enough to play in that team.
Yeah, exactly. But when you ask them to do the basics of football, they look better.
Yeah, probably would.
Yeah, they probably would.
Would they do it in Sheffield Wednesday? Yeah, probably would, like for like. But they're still gaining 15 grand, 10, 15 grand a week.
15 grand a week don't make you play better football. It don't. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Man City would pay Jake Cooper 60 grand a week. It ain't going to turn him into like Maldini or Nesta, is it?
I think the point of it is that if you can't put a jockey on a donkey and expect him to win the Grand National, can you?
Thank you. That's exactly it.
I think that's what it is more to the point. And I think Harris has come in and he has given Rocket up his arse. Yeah, Mick, 100%, you are right. But also he has looked at these players and gone, what is it that you do to the best of your ability? What are you comfortable with? And what situations can I put you in that will get the best out of you? And Harris has done that. And albeit it might be very basic stuff, it might be very basic football, clear your lines, be resolute in your defending, be disciplined. It might be basic stuff, but it's a smart way to manage players who cannot do what the previous regime asked them to do. Now, Rowett was very shrewd with that. Rowett had this plan very resolute for years, and it worked for years, and it was very good. And that was with a very similar Harris type player, because let's not forget, most of these players, Harris signed them.
Yeah,
Harris signed them, and they played in Harris's system.
100%. Look, Tony says that. Look, the massive elephant in the room is Harris has gone back to back four. Yeah, no, totally agree. And when Rowett went back to the back four, it started getting fucking things. The players were playing, and then everyone starts trying to say. You had Rowett come out on shows saying, listen, I get to choose what the fucking team layout is. And, we do this in back four, we get this, and we do this in back five, and we get this, blah, blah, blah. But the players should still be able to fucking have something about them to be able to fucking stop a ball going past them. It's a simple, take away all the fucking, you can't play in centre, you can't play in that centre position because you're left or whatever. There's still, the process is, your job is to make sure that fella don't get past you. And if he gets past you, then you're doing shit. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is that we all know Joe Edwards.
If we played five-a-side and we played in a team and all four of us are in defence, our job is to stop the ball getting past us.
Some back four, to be fair. Some back four.
Do you know what I mean?
They just look at us and just turn the other way and kick it in the right net.
That's your job, isn't it? Your job as a striker is to put things in the gut, put balls in the net, right? And right now, the people up there ain't fucking doing that job. But the people at the back four need to stop the ball going in. And that's it. And have a keeper what can actually save. And at the moment, our keeper's not too bad, is he? He's being able to save.
Good.
And what's the difference? What's the difference in the keeper then? Because the keeper ain't playing out of position, is he?
It's just confidence. It's confidence.
No, you're not allowed to say
confidence.
you're not allowed to say confidence because that's Mickey don't believe in that.
No, it is.
What are you on about? It's not do you twat. I just said
No,
it a little
you
while
don't.
ago. It's about
The
wanting
players
something
are
about you.
confident. The players are confident in playing the system. They weren't confident playing the system. Sarkic had no trust in Cooper with the ball at his feet. He had no trust in the players in front of him. Now he does because it's a comfortable way of playing. He's even come out and said it. Simplify my job. That's what Harris has done.
And he looks a different keeper. Let's be honest. Joe Edwards did his team talks using ChatGPT, whatever it's fucking called. We all know that. There was that graphic that we put up when Harris come in, and it was a carbon copy. Neil Harris is a very hands-on, very, he's like a public speaker type guy. You know, people would stand on the street corner and listen to him talk. Joe Edwards, you'd switch off straight away, and I bet these players did. I bet even the game plans didn't register with the players. But Harris installs it, and if you don't do it, you're done. Danny McNamara made one mistake in 3 games under Harris. One mistake, one before Harris and 2 Harris. He made one mistake. That was it.
Oh, look,
for Brian.
right there you go.
He won't. Right on cue, Daily Millwall. But it just shows that although it's very basic, Harris still expects extremely high levels when you play in this type of system, and it works. And the players are on edge, but they're confident with it.
Yeah, but they're playing now for the badge. They're playing now. They're giving their heart and soul on that pitch. As in, towards the end of route, they weren't. Look at Blackburn when we played Blackburn last game of the season. If they had the same fucking nous about them, they would have fucking grinded that game out, but they didn't. And under Edwards, they didn't have that. You know, it was as if we're not going.
But if the club had any ounce about them, we would have saw the hindsight and seen the light, and we would have ripped it up. As soon as the game ended after Blackburn, we would have started the tear down and the rebuild. Then
I just think it's all madness, right? I can understand, right, if you were going, the players aren't good enough. If you're playing lower league football, okay, yeah, but these aren't guys what have just come into football. These are guys what are established pros, right? And I don't understand how you can be shit for so many weeks and then all of a sudden not shit. To me, there's a level there of, I think Edwards lost the dressing room and they just didn't do it. Because at the end of the day, your manager's on the fucking changing on the line, yeah, and next to the dugout. If you don't like what he's telling you to do and you know that it ain't working, you fucking change yourself around a bit, regardless if you get fucking ripped apart. But if you get a result and then get ripped apart, who cares?
Yeah, but we saw Edwards during the games when things weren't working. No animation, no character about him just sitting down. Whereas Harris, he don't sit down. He's up there.
Did you just see the bollock and he gave to Longman yesterday?
That's what I'm saying. He's on it. He's up at the sideline. He's telling them, keep your mentality. Like the players at the moment have got no room for error. They know that the manager is standing there on the sidelines, breathing down their necks, shouting instructions at them all game. Whereas Edwards was, go on, do your thing, and I'll talk to you at half time.
My prime example would be this, right? If 4 of us went for a FIFA coaching badge now, right? Most of us might think we know a bit about football, right? You boys might think you know more about football and all this. But I guarantee that if we were in the room with 4 professional players playing in the championship or using the championship, they will know the game inside out better than us, right? So, they don't need the same level of coaching as what we would. They have to fucking be able to look at themselves in the mirror. And I guarantee Neil's gone in there and gone, you're professional football players. What are you doing? You're looking like cunts out there. Just fucking go out there and do what you get paid to do. And
I reckon he's done it in a slightly nicer way than that, to be honest.
I bet he's fucking done it in a more.
I reckon he did it in a slightly more encouraging way than that.
Yeah. Maybe go and take a look at yourself in the mirror type of.
This is the fucking den. Yeah, we don't put up with that bollocks. And if that's the way you want to play, there's the.
But even like Luke said,
can I just come in there? Why aren't we playing that from the back now, under Harris, Mickey?
We can't.
Why aren't we playing that from the back?
Because the players at the back aren't great to fucking put forward. And also, Harris football's always been about lump it up.
So the players aren't good enough to play it out from the back, is what you're saying?
Stephen, right? Listen, right,
Mate, I'm not disputing the mentality thing. No, I'm not disputing the mentality thing, but you cannot just sit there and say it's all to do with mentality because
I'm not
it's
saying
not,
that
mate.
at all. I've not said that at all.
You've not said once about the style of football. It's all about giving them a rocket, telling them to take a look at themselves.
Neil's come in, changed how he wants to play. He's gone back to fucking simplified fucking football.
Because that's what we're good at.
Okay, you've had your point. Now my turn. Yeah, Harris has come in and done what he's
done. Mate, don't start that. Don't start that.
You're saying, right? Don't fucking give it all the big one and let me say what's what. Let me say what I'm saying to you. Yeah, is that the players now, they're the same players what are there, regardless of the system they're playing. Right? 8 weeks ago, they were fucked after 30 minutes, mate. They looked and blowing out their asses. They're not necessarily. They wouldn't have given any of that fight in the last 4 games what we had 6-8 weeks ago. Even go back to when Rout was there. We didn't have that much fight. When we scored a goal, they scored a goal, their heads dropped everything. Do you know what? If they score a goal now, the opposition scores a goal now, they will go, do you know what? We can still win this. We can still go because the mentality under Neil has put it back in them. They understand. They like that feel with the crowd. They like the fucking buzz. It's not all about, oh, well, he's changed the formation because at the end of the day, if the players were shit and he changed the formation, they still wouldn't be able to fucking play. It's a lot of things added into one, what's suddenly now giving us results. The fact that Neil's fucking giving them, you know, a pep talk and fucking on them and make sure that, you know, they know what it means playing for that badge. As in, the other 2 managers didn't fucking tell them what it's about. And now they're going out there and leaving everything on the pitch because they are. Look at Joe Bryan. Joe Bryan, we've taken the piss out of him. You've taken the piss out of him for weeks on end about his fucking, the cunt's looking for a Costa deal and everything else. Yesterday's game, he looked fucking completely different player.
Do you want to know why I think that was? I think it's because he probably thought when he was fit, he was guaranteed the spot in the starting 11. And then all of a sudden, Harris has came in, hasn't picked him as his first choice. He's gone with Danny. It's given him a little bit of a kick up the arse, which is what he probably needed.
Exactly.
I totally agree with that.
And that's the thing. And unfortunately, Edwards would never have just dropped him. Most of the time, there was senior players in there.
The thing is as well, right, is that it's now confirmed that it was purely an effort level and not a fitness level with these players because this has been the same team roughly, barring 1 or 2, that has played 4 games under Harris now. And in every single game, I'll be honest, on Saturday, I was quite worried with Saville playing 3 games in a week, you know, the same midfield, same back 4, Obafemi, and they looked really fit. For the first 40 minutes of that game, we looked really fit. We was chasing everything down. So it's clear to me now and confirmed that under Edwards, it was just pure effort level. It weren't fitness. It weren't that the guys were tired or we had issues.
They didn't want to play for him.
They just didn't want to play for him because under Harris, the fitness levels look great. They look great. They look hungry and fit.
Whoever that is, watch Wally turns around and says, Harris has created a unit. And that's it. He's basically, he's reinvigorated what it means to play for Millwall. That's it. You know, what you do is you go out there. It doesn't matter if we get beat 4-0. As long as you go out there and give 130% on that pitch and leave everything on that pitch, then they will back you. And it's what we said, you know, if you go out there and even, you know, just give it on the pitch, regardless if you lose fucking 4-0, the fans will back you. And they have. As soon as you've seen that different level, you've done it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, he don't want passengers. He just wants soldiers. He wants people who are going to go out there and fucking give, you know, life and death for their thing. Same as the fans. Life and death for the thing. And Chris Brown, by the way, Steve ain't getting thingy, mate. That's what you lot tune in for, mate. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, mate, you lot tune in for the banter, mate. We're good as gold. There's no dramas there, mate. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. But, you know, after Friday, mate, there will be revenge towards the end of the show. So don't panic. The 2 on this show today stitched me right. Not Friday, last Sunday, wasn't it? I think it was. Stitched me up. So, yeah.
Hang on a minute now. Now, you was in the chat dropping your fair share, Stephen, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He
was dropping your fair share as well. So you weren't so distant from it as you say you was, Mickey.
No.
And then we all got our little responses on Twitter.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I did share those for you.
Yeah.
But look, it is what it is. So look, at the end of the day, we're all Millwall, right? And I think I think what it is look, my football knowledge ain't as good as yours, and I just couldn't give a fuck if it was. I go to watch fucking them give heart and soul and win. I couldn't give a fuck if it's back 3, back 4, back fucking 12, mate. As long as they put the ball in the opposition's net, that's what it's all about. But there is a different person now in each and every one of them than what there was there before. Because yes, you know, with how Edwards was talking, how Edwards done his post-match, everything else about it, you could see that there was professional players who were like, who are you? I mean, can you imagine that? The conversation, what potentially could have come back to Edwards is going, well, what have you done? What's your football career? You ain't got one. You imagine one of them turn around to Neil and going, what's your football career? And they go, I'll tell you what my football career is. Go upstairs and look on the wall. Who's the fucking leading goal scorer? That'd be fucking me. What else you got to say? And that's it. That's the difference. He is Millwall through and through. Do you know what I mean? He is a Millwall legend, a Millwall through and through. And that's the difference. He can tell them what he expects because he has done it. He has done it on the pitch, mate. And that's the difference. And not one of them can question that. And everything he's told them has all been proven. In the last 3-4 games, everything he told them would happen has happened. Even that 90-minute, you know, Tandanga scoring the 90th minute header, mate. Even though, I think, you know, Birmingham are crying, mate, over a penalty, what wasn't a penalty, but, you know, at the end of the day.
We have one of them every game.
And have you seen it? Because I don't know what they're looking at. I don't understand what they're looking at. That's not a penalty. Jake Cooper literally gets UFC'd every single week. We had countless. The referee, and I want to talk about the referee, and we might talk about it a bit later. But the referee was one of the worst I've ever seen down the den. It was everything. Every time that ball went into the box, it was somehow a foul. The keeper was always fouled. Every time there was a challenge over the halfway, it was always a foul. But when it's on us, it's never a foul.
I didn't think first half the referee was too bad, but second half he just didn't let anything go whatsoever.
Shocking. It's diabolical. They did everything they could to not let Millwall win that game, and we Millwalled it in the 90th minute, like in typical Millwall fashion. And just like Southampton, just like Watford, the Birmingham fans are in full-scale meltdown mode. I've not seen any. I don't understand the what Harris does to these teams, to these managers. He makes them implode from the inside out. Do you remember the Mars attacks where they just look at it and the heads just explode? That's Neil Harris. For some reason, he gets so far under their skin, not through his words, but just from how we play. Because it must be, if I was a manager going up against Neil Harris and I lost that game 1-0, the frustration would send me to the point of fucking no return. Do you know what I mean?
You mentioned when he used to have like Morrison and fucking Gregory and all that. I mean, Morrison was one of the top fucking shithouse players there's ever been, mate. With him and Neil Harris, mate, you weren't going to get nothing there.
That's right. And add Savile in there.
Go on, Stephen. Off you go, fella.
Do you not think with Harris as well, the fact that it's not just the fact that the managers get the ump with it, it's Harris. It's the fact that Southampton, I think Watford, not so much Blackburn because there was hardly any of us there, but yesterday, fans are going on Twitter and are complaining about the mere chant. They're constantly. No. The opposition fans are complaining about it. So that people, and they deleted there was a Birmingham fan who deleted their tweet about it because they got so much abuse and stick about it. It's the fact that Harris has brought the fans back into play.
Yeah, made us horrible bastards again.
Yeah. Rowett always said that, you know, he playing at the Den, he felt like, I think the quote was, he felt he'd been cheated as Millwall manager during COVID because he didn't have the supporters. But when he did get the supporters, he didn't utilise us the way that he should have. Yeah. Joe Edwards, you know, again, didn't really, there was that bounce at the start when you win the first game, but again, he didn't really bring us into play because it wasn't the Millwall way. All Harris has come in and done from a fan's point of view is he's got us involved. He's got us involved for Southampton, say Watford, and yesterday. And opposition fans and players alike must be thinking this is a different Millwall than that turned up at at St Andrews at the beginning of the season, or it's a different Millwall. Admittedly, at Watford we had a good following there. It's a different different prospect facing us now because the crowd are behind them.
We got a troll, by the way.
Yeah, we've got a fan.
It's
We've
because
got a troll.
Evening, Patrick.
Evening, Patrick. What team do you reckon Patrick follows?
Could be Birmingham.
Could be Birmingham, couldn't it?
Yeah, I don't reckon he follows.
Are you upset? Are you upset, Patrick, because you didn't get the penalty, or are you upset that you had a long journey home without a win,
or the fact that confused more than anything,
or was it the fact that maybe Rooney shagged your nan?
The thing is what I want to touch on what Stephen just said is that you in any work, in any job that we do, or in anything you enjoy, you look for who the leader is, and you look for people to lead you.
Can we say hello? Look,
the fans. That's right.
Hello, Annabelle.
Hello, Annabelle. Now, the fans are looking at Joe Edwards sitting down when we've just gone 2-1 down after being 1-0 up, and we're looking at him for a response to get into these players, to get the crowd involved, to show us that he wants to get this going. Now, when you see that, the fans go, well, if he don't give a fuck, obviously it's not going to happen. But when you see Harris on the sideline for 90 minutes screaming at his players, and I noticed it a lot against Birmingham, that soon as there was a delay in the game or it went out, someone went down, Harris is dragging people over. He's screaming at people, come over here. He's talking to him. He's got Livermore literally by the top of his neck, and he's dragging him up to the sideline, and he's talking to him. And when you see that, and you see the man in charge leading from the front like that, as you would in the battlefield, the soldiers follow. And that's what the fans are doing. We're feeding off Anil's energy, and the players are feeding off our energy. You need them three in sync to have any success. The fans need to back the manager, and the players feed off of it. And at the moment, it's just this recipe of I can't see us getting beat, and that's crazy because I expect to get beat at Leeds. But with how it's going at the moment, it's just the perfect situation for us at the moment at the right time as well.
I'm being attacked here.
Dan,
I haven't said anything for about 20 minutes.
You don't need to say right. The problem is, Dan, right, is that people can see that you're on your phone, and they think that you're just using your phone for Tinder, mate. So that's why they're giving you.
That's how we got our first follower. He's like, "Quick, look, I'm on the podcast. Come and check out my podcast." And Annabelle,
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Look.
Actually, I will, but you just done.
Tell us why we're done then. Tell us why we're done then. Tell us.
Engage with us. This is what we're here for. Engage with us.
Or even Patrick, come and join us. Come and join us and tell us why we're dumb.
It's probably
look. We don't always agree, and we don't always agree with the chat. And the chat don't always agree with us.
Patrick, were you a fairly high level goalkeeper at any point in your career?
Anyway, Mickey, condolences, mate. You've just lost the final to a 17-year-old.
Has he won again? That cunt. And he's mental, isn't
he? He pinned the 9-darter as well.
Jesus. What a man, mate. What a man. He's not 16. I refuse that. He's 17. I refuse it. It's just, I refuse. But yeah, look.
I refuse.
Fat Dad's burner. But look, just to talk to them sort of people, look, we don't always agree. And it gets quite heated sometimes. But that's what we're here for. We wouldn't be doing it if we all agreed. If we all come on and went, yeah, everything's rosy. If the news come on at 10 o'clock at night and went, everything's sweet. Don't worry. See you tomorrow. Everyone will go, what the fuck? Because you don't. That's what we're here for. So, don't have some bollocks about you. You've obviously, we can't be that fucking dumb. You're sitting here watching us. Who's the dumb one? So come and have a chat with us. So come and have a chat with us and tell us your differences, because that's what we're here for. We're here to listen to people. That's why you all come up on the chat and we'll engage with you. It's all fun. It's all good. But don't call us dumb without any context.
No, man.
I've had enough. Take me short.
Anyway, gents, I was going to say, can we move it on some kind of way? I want to have a chat about. I know we said we aren't going to try and diss too many player selections, because obviously what he's doing at the moment is clearly the winning forward. There's one player I want to dig out, and I'm very, very sorry, because he works hard to him, but he just has no quality whatsoever, and I struggle to believe he's a professional footballer.
Just one sec, Dan. I'm gonna flash up on another screen in the green room. Don't add me, okay?
Okay. And that player, I'm sure. Well, I know Jay's in agreement with me. I'm sure Stephen will be in agreement with me. I'm sure a lot of people in the
Hold on,
comments.
before you say anything, are you talking about someone that come on?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it is. It's Ryan Longman, and I'm sorry, but he just looks woefully out of his depth, and I'm just like, Brooke Norton-Cuffey's sitting on the bench for this guy, and Essay's sitting on the bench for this guy, and Mayer's sitting on the bench for this guy. It's like,
Totally
how?
I totally agree.
And what makes it worse, Dan, is the fact that he's also used in a position, or has been used in a position it's just not going to work with him through the middle.
No,
it's just not.
He went up there for like half hour at QPR away under Edwards, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it's horrific.
If you want to join, we have now got a WhatsApp group for the Sunday Night Live show. There is each show's got its own. So if you do want to join, the link now is there in the comments, and then obviously we can continue the conversations after the shows and throughout the weeks and whatnot. So yeah, there'll be one for Friday, one for Sunday, and there's obviously.
I do agree with Dan. What Dan's saying there, Watmore as well, but I do want to give Watmore some credit. I mean, at Watford, he was absolutely horrific, and he looked absolutely blown after half an hour. He was so bad.
He did.
But against Birmingham, I actually thought that the first half he put in a really good shift, and I actually thought he wasn't that bad at all. I thought he had a bit of a wake-up call. He'd never met Harris before, and I think that Watford game was a massive wake-up call to how hard he's got to work. But I thought Birmingham, he deserved a little bit of credit, but to Dan's point, I mean, what is Ryan Longman doing? Is he really good at making tea for Harris? You know, does he put his coat, give him his umbrella for him when it's raining? I don't understand what he's doing to warrant any game time over the players that can play there.
Sign him, to be honest.
Two things. He must do two things to the comment. Do you agree with what Dan said about Longman? Put your comments in the chat, and also, do you think it's time that Patrick gets hit with the ban, or should we keep him? Just put ban or keep in the comments as well, and we'll get rid of it.
It really annoys me. What's nonsense? Tell us what's nonsense.
The thing is, moving back to Longman, what concerns me is that he's a lone player. So he's being played over players that are going to be here next season 100%.
Yeah.
So unless there's a deal that's been done in the background that we don't know about, which for me would be shocking piece of business.
Hull will let him go for a packet of crisps.
Yeah.
Nothing would surprise me.
No, it wouldn't. It really, really wouldn't. But unless he's got some kind of deal that means he's staying at the club, I don't know why he's getting game time over other players. I think I don't know if it was Saturday, it might have been against Watford, where the ball come over the top and he ran onto it in the second half to try and get us up the pitch and miscontrolled it out for a throw.
Yeah.
And you think you're...
Did you see the video I put in the group chat, by the way?
Yeah.
Today. It was literally a carbon copy of that, wasn't it, from Football Manager?
And that was a chance to break there as well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't doubt his effort, Ryan Longman, because I do think he does try. Unfortunately, that's all he does. And I just don't see why and again, someone put in the chat earlier, and I don't know who it was, and I meant to make a note of it, apologies, about why Brooke Norton-Cuffey isn't getting as much game time. I don't think he doesn't like the wing back system. Obviously, Harris isn't going to do that, and I don't think he's going to play him at fullback. But surely, if you want someone to get you up the pitch, you go Norton-Cuffey instead of Ryan Longman.
100%.
Can I just say,
even have him starting over Watmore, that could be justified.
Yeah. No, exactly. Hang on one sec. Stephen, how many days a week do you play football?
Twice.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Dan, what's your job? Without telling who you work for, what do you do for a living?
I'm a journalist.
And you're a football commentator or a football journalist?
I have been a football commentator and a football journalist before. Yeah.
Okay. And Jay, you just work on trains.
Just choo. I can't say too much.
and Patrick, my job is I am officially 100% cunt. So yeah,
he was also used to be fan on the board.
Yeah, I was previously fan on the board.
Yeah. The lone players is a big concern for me when you've got people like Adam Mayer, who if it's legs and energy that Harris wants. I mean, sure, the kid's 18 years old. If he hasn't got legs and energy at his age, why is he here? You know, I'd even rather have Joe Bryan play higher up the field because of his delivery, and he's got a goal in him as well, Joe Bryan.
Well,
and stick Danny Mack back at left back.
I mean, Anthem Hull didn't rate him at all. He said he was shit.
I was about to say the show him a few weeks ago.
League One Longman,
absolutely useless.
League One Longman. That's what he called him. It just, I just, you know,
I think his words were, "I can't believe you guys took him off our hands." Do you know what I mean? He said,
I can't believe Longman must do something in training because that's 3 managers who are consistently giving him game time.
I know. The thing is, he's versatile. But to be
honest with you,
but like, what's Campbell doing in training? Because he's not getting in the squad. Harding hasn't been getting in the squad recently on match day. What are them two doing in training if Longman is still getting in the squad mate, and more concerningly getting on the pitch?
To be honest, I could probably look like Messi in training, but put me on a football pitch for 90 minutes and I'll be fucked after 5. Do you know what I mean?
It's definitely it's definitely a cause for, you know, for us to. It's definitely a viable conversation because these players aren't going to be here next year, and you've got players that are going to be here that we really should be getting a look at now. Because if it's effort and care, you know, does Longman really care that fucking much? Because his performances are shit. They're terrible.
I'm not.
I don't understand what he's doing.
I'm not doubting he cares. And I put this in our group chat the other day, and maybe, you know, this might be a good talking point for the audience. Feel free. I don't know whether this has been said or not recently, but I think at the moment Harris is picking the hardest working players, maybe than some of our better players, better technical players, and I think Longman falls into the harder working category of player.
I think what he's doing is picking players who can play off the ball. So, you know, when they don't have the possession, they can get it.
And Longman does run around, and Longman has played at left wing back previously quite a lot. He did start there with us at Birmingham away when he was really good. So he can play that defensive side of it. So that left side does suit him. Maybe Barrett's been in Harris's ear and said, "Look, you probably need to give him a run there," because he played under Barrett. You know, when he interim, Longman was getting games under Barrett, so there's that there. But just guys like Adam Mayer, Imarku when fit. You know, these guys need to start getting games, because these are the guys that are going to be in next season when we potentially lose 11 of the players that are here this season. Harding is, you know, I don't know what's up with Harding, but would you change that centre back pairing? I honestly think Harding is a Neil Harris type centre half.
I said exactly the same thing, and he didn't even make the squad yesterday.
Yeah, I think he's that type of player. I think he's that type of player. I think he's good enough to be in Harris's system. I think he's good enough.
I'm going to come back to a couple of these comments in a minute, mate, because I think.
But you know, it's some of the
cat alight.
I was going to say some of the squad decisions are a little bit off. How much is that Harris and how much is that Adam Barrett's input? I honestly think only 4 games in, it's probably majority Adam Barrett's input. But yeah, it's an awkward one with some of these players at the moment.
What I would say though, is that if
Tony Dolby.
What I would say, if we're coming on here, and I think we haven't really spoke about the game yesterday as of yet, and like chances and things that went on, but if the only thing we're really complaining about is the sub of Ryan Longman, it's not a bad, it's not that bad. I think, you know, again, you know, we'll talk about the game and some bits and pieces. I thought only making 1 sub up until the point that we scored was looking like it was going to be a horrendous mistake.
Yeah.
That was pretty much, you know, we were in the stands thinking, you know, you've got attackers on the bench, you need a goal. What's going on? But I can live with if we're leaving home games and the only thing we've really got to moan about is that Ryan Longman's getting more game time than other players.
Yeah. Listen, it's like I said earlier, who are we at the moment to sit there and start criticising Harris's team selection and Harris's squad that he set out? We've got 10 points from 12 games. So until the day comes where we go on a losing streak, touch wood, that doesn't happen anytime soon or this side of the end of the season, we can't complain. Yeah, we can have our debates, but we cannot complain about it because it's so far it's been the right decision. We might not agree, but it's the right decision so far.
You were at both of these, weren't you, Stephen?
Longman played well away at Southampton and Blackburn. He showed flashes like the Borough home game. Honestly, nobody at Blackburn played well. Nobody. It was the worst game of football I think I've ever seen. Obafemi took his goal well. I'll give him that.
I do unreservedly apologise for that.
I'll be honest, Dan. About half hour into the game, I was massively, you're on a hit list. When Obafemi scored his goal, you were the best person in the world. So yeah, no, I don't. Southampton, yes, I thought Longman was okay, but no one come out with any real credit. Again, grafting performance, but.
I do love our listeners, the ones who join like a bit later on, and then they've come in like an hour down the line, and he goes, "I'm miles behind, but I agree with Stephen. It isn't just Harris giving them a rocket; it's more tactical than that. It's asking the players to do what they can do, not all about the passion."
Right, let's open this one up again. No, I'm joking.
Please don't. I can't. Can we just talk about the Japhet Tanganga, please? Because
don't look back, Tanganga, mate.
The infamous show title by Dan
created by yours truly.
Yeah, created by Dan. The title of the show when we signed him.
Love that.
That's it. Patrick Turner is Neil Harris. Patrick Turner is Joe Edwards.
Patrick Turner's Alan Campbell, I think.
Before we talk about Tanganga, what idiot made the decision to send Alan Campbell out for the community day? Like I know they've got to get some money out, like you get the money's worth, but that was such a poor decision.
He might as well do something though, Stephen. Because
I know, but it was
carry
just
the kids,
shocking.
community day, sign some autographs, do something. Like we're probably paying him 40% of his wage. That's how it normally works, isn't it? 60-40.
But when you think with the current fact that we haven't got people who can score, and the fact that he is probably, I would probably say he is a Neil Harris type player, that he's still not getting a game. He didn't get a game under Edwards, and he still isn't getting a game. There must be something in that contract. There must be a potential signing, like a sign on that loan, that if he plays so many games, because otherwise, why wouldn't people be playing him? And we've had a few of those clauses before, that if you play so many games, then you basically, you can then activate a clause where you have to be brought at the end of the season. And maybe they just don't, maybe they don't want to risk that. They don't. They're like, no, we don't want you.
Yeah, I don't think we should spend too much time talking about Alan Campbell, to be honest, because before we know it, he's going to have come and gone. So I wouldn't waste that breath too much on him.
It'll be a quiz question a few years down the line about who played in a season, but. Back to
my favourite. Hang on, quickly. Just my favourite Millwall quiz question will forever be: which Millwall player who played it for Millwall in the 2010s got a senior cap for Italy?
Fucking hell, I got.
Oh wow!
There we go. Here we go. Comment section. Get involved.
2010,
in that
Diego Fabrini.
There you go.
Oh yeah, Fabrini. Remember him? Yeah.
Omar's favourite player.
He was proper streets will not forget player.
No, he was absolutely terrible.
Got it. Look, what I want to know is, right, sometimes when these comments come in after we've said it, it's like, now, did they just type it after we said it or not? So, right, let's get all tangoed up then.
Let's do it.
I did.
Yeah, let's move on to the game and the players we want to credit now.
Takes two to tango, boys. Who's doing it with me?
Oh, should we just stop now?
I did have it in there at one point, but it's not in there now. I did have the old, the Tango Slapman advert. I did actually at some point have that, but it's not in the comments, so I'm not gonna play it. So go.
Take it away, Stephen.
I think after the Coventry game, when everyone had basically written him off and said, sack him off, send him back to Spurs, he's not good enough. Another channel said that he'd be playing for Bromley around that time. I just, again, the transformation and the calmness of him as a centre-back, and also he scored his first goal in professional football for us at Southampton. That was a brave header. Scored a massive goal yesterday. The pictures of him celebrating with Sav and Brian and Obafemi, players like that. He's just a lone player. And again, much like Norton Cuffy start of the season, has come in and is now absolutely loving playing for this football club. And you can see it week after week, especially under Harris.
Yeah, he's a Rolls Royce, mate. He's a Rolls Royce. He doesn't seem to put a foot wrong at the moment, because he's doing what we brought him here to do: be a centre half, win the ball in our box, and try and score in their box. And he's been really, really. And I'm more impressed with the fact that He's got Cooper playing at a very good level as well next to him. So, the partnership has evolved there. But he just needed games. He hadn't played much. He had that big injury, and he come to us, and it was, like you say, unorthodox type of football for him to play. But these last few weeks, he has been probably, you'd want to say, arguably the best player on the field. He's been flawless. He does nothing wrong. At the Southampton game, he must have had to take 6 ibuprofen after that game. I don't think anyone made more clearances in the country at Southampton. He has been absolutely flawless, and credit to him for sticking with it, and and getting himself right as well. And credit for Harris for sticking with him. He could have quite easily dropped him out. He's got no affiliation with Tanganga, but yeah, he's been brilliant. Absolutely class.
We were misquoting another show.
But yeah, he's been top draw. And if hopefully he stays fit, touchwood, we're not jinxing any players here, but yeah, he's been top draw. And some people were saying maybe Spurs will let him go, or we cheeky couple of million. That if he performs like that from now to the end of the season, you've got zero chance of that happening.
No, that's he's probably is, if we're being honest, I wouldn't say he's a Tottenham level Premier League player, but I think on his day, I think he probably is a Premier League player, to be completely honest.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Do you think that Augsburg though had a clause, didn't they? We don't.
Allegedly, they've got an option to buy. I don't know if that's still in place.
Obviously, he's not,
I think
because he's not there. It's gone now, but it was for £10 million.
Exactly. So that's
someone will pay that based on these performances. Someone will pay that. He's
an
young.
ambitious Championship club who comes down, like Burnley might pay it. Whoever gets that third relegation spot might pay it.
Even someone like Leeds United going up. Why wouldn't they pay it? Why wouldn't they take him on? I think he's that caliber. I think he's top class.
Yeah, but why would they take him on when they're not playing Cresswell?
No, I think what he said, what Jay's trying to say there is that there will be clubs that will look at Tanganga and say he's very, very good. He's clearly over his injury issues. He's played in the Premier League for Spurs. Why not take a go? I agree.
Quite experienced for 24.
That Leeds probably, they've got their centre halves. Maybe not. It might not necessarily be Leeds themselves, but there'll be clubs.
I could see him if Ipswich go up. I could see him at Ipswich, for example.
Or Leicester.
Yeah, perfect.
But again, I think that the big thing, and it's always for me with loan players, they're not. It is the bravery. It's do they care? Do they really want to be there? And he does. And as I say, superb.
There you go. There's one for you.
Do you know what? That's an amazing question.
Can we at least wait till the end of the season?
Yeah, I need more than a 4 games trip on.
If you had the choice to sign either of them permanently tomorrow, who would you pick? And that goes back to Keith.
Tanganga.
Dan?
Let's have a look. Let's put it in there, shall we?
Yeah, let's have an actual poll.
Sign.
I think Tanganga is a better player, but from a business point of view, I'd sign Cresswell because he's younger and has more time to develop and grow.
If we're putting money in, if we're going to put money and finances and that on the table, if that's what we're doing, you probably go with Cresswell. But right now, if I can sign anyone for next season, I'm signing Tanganga all day long. Really am.
I don't know if it's as straightforward as that.
I think it's a really, really tough decision. It's really, really tough. Cresswell's a bit younger. He would cost less.
So who would you rather sign, Tango or Cresswell? The poll is in the chat now. Get yourself voting now. Off you go.
I would, if I was Millwall though, I would 100% be going to Spurs at the end of the season and saying, look, what's going on? There's talk that he only had a year left. There's talk he didn't have, contract, etc. I'll just go to them and say, look, this is what we want to do. This is what we can offer, and just ask the question. If we can't afford him and we can't get him, fine, but at least ask the question. Don't just let him go off and join someone else.
100%.
I hope Alex Mitchell does come back next season.
That's a good point. He's been playing really well for Lincoln actually recently. Lincoln have been on a really good run of form, and their fans have really been bigging him up. Yeah. So I think
they're as well. They're doing well.
Yeah, I read somewhere that they
won 5-1 at the weekend.
That's amazing.
I read somewhere
as well. that he
really good result.
apparently the club hadn't been in contact with them, and there was like a deal in place, and apparently he wants to stay there. I saw quite a lot of that from Lincoln talks, but I think that is for me. Now that Sean Hutchinson's long-term replacement. They're very similar. They're very similar type players, and
we've still got a Coley as well.
A Coley, yeah, he's a left back, isn't he? A Coley.
No, he's a
centre half. He's a centre half. It's what's his name?
Adam Malachi.
Malachi. Yeah.
Who's also been playing quite a lot for Sutton. He's pretty much played every game for Sutton since he's gone in there online.
Well, we've got that massive unit who gets on the bench sometimes. That Grant, is that his name? Grant, I think. That's centre half.
We do have another young centre half.
And I was watching him warming up, and he's massive. He's an absolute unit, and I think fucking hell, like you sit him next to Archie because he couldn't play with Cooper. You couldn't have two Godzillas at the back, could you?
I mean,
I said Milk turned quicker than them.
When we played Sutton at the beginning of the season, I don't know what it is with Joe, but he likes speaking to the player's dad. But we were speaking to Alex Mitchell's dad, and Alex Mitchell said that he's only really got into football in later years in life because he used to be a championship rower, a really good rower, and hence why he's that build and he's solid because he was because he was he used to be a championship player. So
he's definitely someone that we need to have a hard look at when he comes back.
100%. And one other player that I've got a couple of bits I've got pre-prepared for this. Another player that we need to be having a discussion about very, very soon is Ryan Leonard, because I think Ryan Leonard is 100% a cert for player of the season. That if he continues, I just think he
and if he stays fit until the end of the season as well,
100%. And on his fitness, I don't know who it was. It was a long time ago when actually it was in the summer before the season had even started, talking about how many games we get out of Ryan Leonard. And is it worth giving him a new contract because of the amount of football that he plays? So in the 21-22 season, Ryan Leonard played 19 games and 11 of those were starts. In the 22-23 season, he played 17 games and only 10 of those were starts. So those questions were probably viable. He's starting 10 games of football. That's not really acceptable. And to be fair to him, he's had a couple of injuries, but this year he's played 24 games, starting 24 games and 4 appearances from the bench. So he's made 28 appearances this season. I know he does have his injury problems, but surely you offer him a new deal next year.
He should reach 30 he should reach 30 games this season when the season's out. That's more than enough for me to offer him a new deal, and he will win player of the season, and he's established himself for that right back. And the stats that we'll put up a couple of weeks back, when we play with Ryan Leonard and when we play without Ryan Leonard, we are two different football teams. We seem to win games and we are more controlled, we are more disciplined and better with Ryan Leonard. You have to give him a deal.
Yeah, I think we do. Who is out of contract actually this summer? I don't think it's one for us to get completely bogged down in this show.
Bradshaw,
Murray Wallace.
No, Murray Wallace isn't. It's Bradshaw, Saville,
I don't think this is one to get.
Hutchinson is the other one.
We shouldn't get bogged down in this one yet. We should probably wait and find out what league we're definitely in before we run the rule.
That's the thing, isn't it?
That does help, but the thing is, I wish I could find the tweet or what it was, because it was a really good conversation about it. But it was about how much game time you get out of him, and if you are going to get 17 games with only 10 starts, we can't afford that in the Championship. No. But 24 starts, 4 appearances off the bench. Someone asked how many minutes. I don't know. I don't necessarily know how many minutes he's played, and that quote there from Bailey, do you think it's smart to bet on 30 plus games for Leonard next year when he's 32 if he's one of our top earners? The way his contract was set up, though, I think that, I mean, I don't know this for sure, but it was probably reduced on the fact that his game time was probably going to be limited. So there's two sides to it, but he's been absolutely superb. He's player of the season for me. That run yesterday in the 95th minute or whatever it was that got the crowd going just summed up that he gets this football club. And he's someone as well that's turned around his Millwall career, because when he first come in, he wasn't George Saville. He didn't score the goals that George Saville. everyone hated him. Now, first name on the team sheet when he's fit.
Right,
Superb for me.
And I was really worried when he took it, because I was talking to the guy I normally sit next to, saying, look, Ryan Leonard, can he go this long without getting injured? And literally 10 seconds later, he gets clattered. And I mean, like, clattered. I'm sitting there going, fucking hell, what have I done? Like, and it looked really, really bad. It did look bad. I thought, this is it. This is the end of his season. And, he got up, he stomped it about, he ran it off, and showed that he was all good with that run in the 90th minute. So he's getting a bit more durable. I think Harris will keep him durable, and
he'll manage him a bit. I think
he'll manage. Yeah, definitely. Harris signed him. There's no.
We haven't signed. We've signed Joe Bryan, haven't we? But I don't know what the contract is. But he was out of contract.
2 years deal.
I believe it was a 2+1.
Yeah, it was. The other thing with Leonard and other players that perhaps have got injuries, which is why it's unfortunate that the forwards have got the injuries that they have, is that after next week it's the international break. Yeah. So you've got that you've got a little bit of recovery time. So if we can see him through next Sunday,
that's for Leonard.
Who knows? Yeah, again, I mean, obviously 3,208 in 2018-19. That's very, very good. 6 years ago, a younger player and whatnot, but he's already up by 900 minutes of football this season, and we've still got 9 games to go.
Yeah. That's 10 games nearly thereabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I just think with him, it's a no-brainer, and
100%.
That tackle you talk about, Jay, I thought exactly the same thing. I was like, all right, he's off.
The one player you don't want to get hurt.
Get Danny McNamara out warming up, because that's what's coming. And then thankfully he was up. But no, excellent, Leonard.
Yeah, totally agree.
So then let's come to some of these comments. What are coming? What I think we do.
Then while we flick through the comments, I'm just going to bring up a player that was on our books not that long ago. Now on Birmingham City's books. Wasn't even in the matchday squad yesterday.
Mr. Burke.
It is a certain Oliver Burke, yeah. I just think it's quite interesting, really, how we was kind of relying on him, and he isn't even getting in the squad now. Just seems to be
he's more interested on social media, mate. I've done the Birmingham show, and they said the same thing, that they thought they was getting this player with this electric pace. A bit of an eye for goal.
Me and Ben warned them, because me and Ben did the reverse show at the start of the season in September.
Yeah, and they said the same thing. Not being funny, a club like Birmingham, who are classes, a very similar club to Millwall, hardened old school football club, hardened old school fans, they're not going to part with that bollocks. And it's obvious it ain't working out for him. He's more interested in what him and his missus look like on Instagram and where they're going on holiday, rather than strapping up and playing for a badge every week.
Strapping up, mate. Here we go. Right, let's get some of these comments.
I think it said a lot, particularly on Burke last season, when after the Blackpool game, when the players had a little bit of downtime, he jumped straight on a plane and straight out of the country for a couple of days.
And just fucked off. 100%.
Danny says, obviously it's from near on the beginning of the show, but Danny says the players were able to play the way Edwards wanted them to. Neil was just keeping it simple plus extra aggression. I disagree. Edwards was a cheap option, gambled. Who the mastermind?
Maybe.
Done there. We're looking at Edwards wasn't the right person. Wrong time, bollocks. It's a shame he didn't work out, but he didn't have the players, or he didn't have enough experience to help him out. Any coach would get hampered by Aldo. I've said this for ages. Joe Edwards needed to play a back four. It's clear to see that it's had a massive impact. It's poor management on that behalf alone. Get the best from what you have, and was very stubborn. Surely Hutch. Here we go. We're coming on towards Leeds in the set. There's a couple of one there for Leeds. So Sav, Hutch, Saville, Leonard have to move on next season. It's compared to what we were talking about a minute ago. We need a drastic change now to progress with a new manager.
So he's not mentioning people like Bradshaw. Like I would, all three of them would get an offer for me. Hutch would get a very low, come stick around and be a leader in the dressing room type offer for me. Yeah, play as you play. But Saville and Leonard, like out of all the ones that are out of contract, they're probably the two that deserve the contracts.
Yeah,
like Bradshaw for me has done nothing. He's had 1 year 1 year
That was
where
going
he
to be my
scored
point on
goals.
Bradshaw. I don't think I would offer Bradshaw a contract.
Not at all. Honestly, Dan, as you probably was going to say, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, the geezer's been on the injury table more than he scored goals for us. He had one good season last season. What's he done for 7 years? Nothing. What? Someone tell me why he deserves a contract.
I don't think he deserves the contract. I think he's been unlucky to be after last season to have the injuries he's had this year. But that's just a sign of that's just a sign of what happens to footballers when they get a little bit older. Yeah. I must say, Hutchinson, I think he's one that probably does need to step away.
I do think Hutch might need to. Hutch is one that I'm very much on the fence with, because I do feel like maybe just one more year, because I think next year is going to be kind of another transitional year. Would we be better off keeping him, especially if we're going to integrate players like Alex Mitchell into the starting 11 and stuff like that? Is he
play like you said, then?
No, that's it. But here's one for you. BNC too lightweight for Harris. Do you think?
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's a Harris type player.
Yeah, no. I think it's
do you think BNC and Brian as wingers?
Yes, they could. I think they could. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd happily have them both play there as well.
And as we're going to get onto Leeds in a minute, do you think it will be Hutch, Tandanga, Cooper, Brian in defence for Leeds? That's an experienced back line.
I don't think he'll change the back line from the weekend.
No,
I don't think Hutchinson will be.
This one will make you laugh. Obviously, Stephen, you need to be a bit careful because he sits right in front of you with your comments. Why don't we try Wallace up front? Uses both feet, heads a ball, and has been known to score a few.
Dan, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I was about to, I actually have met Mike a couple of times. He actually, we often see him on the train back from games. So evening, Mike. But I'm sorry, I can't get on board with this one. I'll be honest with you.
Choo choo.
Yeah, I know. Well, the J train as well, innit? So maybe Jay's driving the train for all I know. But no, I can't get on board with that one, mate. I'm sorry. That's just no. I think Murray Wallace. I think he's another one who's out of contract, and we probably need to be showing him quite swiftly to the door. To be completely honest,
is that true? I saw that the other day. Is Mayer on 9 yellow cards? One more, he gets a ban, gets a free.
No, he's no. When we signed him, he was actually suspended for the first game we signed him because he got 10 yellow cards.
Yeah, he's got a clean slate now.
He wasn't. Was it? Who was it? Hull. He couldn't play. It was the whole game. He was suspended for before he'd even kicked the ball for us, which is great. Great.
Yeah,
love it.
So Neil Harris talked up Casper in his post-match yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Somebody go and tell Joe Zampa.
Yeah, Casper's got a massive part to play in this football club, and Harris knows that. It's just come at the wrong time for someone like Casper, because there's a proper football player there, but we don't need great football players. We need soldiers. And Billy Mitchell, for all the people that slagged him off, Billy Mitchell is playing very good football at the moment.
Yeah.
Can't argue with it. I tried to avoid it after the Southampton game. I was like, it's one game, we'll see. But he's doing it. Look, listen, I'm more than happy. I've done it with Fleming, and I'll do it again with Billy Mitchell. The effort and the work rate and the commitment to the calls from Billy is superb. I don't think you're ever going to get the goals and assists from him. I don't think it's ever going to be part of his game. But he's been very, very good in that midfield. Him and Saville, it's no coincidence, is it? The midfield we had last year that were on fire. The two of them were so good together. Have come back and it's earning us points.
He's the white Jimmy Abdou, mate. Every manager that come into Millwall tried to out Jimmy Abdou because he said he can't play football. But what Jimmy Abdou was really good at was getting told, that geezer there, that number 6, you sit on him for fucking 90 minutes. Don't leave him alone. Hustle him. When you get the ball down, give it to him and let him do it. That's what Jimmy was good at, and that's what Billy's good at. Billy's got so much energy, and he's actually not that bad on the ball as well. He clears up really well. He spreads the play a bit, and these last 4 games, nothing has gone through the middle. No one's been able to drive through the middle of us with Sav and Billy in there. Everything goes wide. That's maybe part of the game plan, but credit where it's due to all of them. But Casper will play big part next season, because we're not going to play this style of football next season, regardless of who the manager is.
No, I think, to be honest, maybe moving forward next season, I think Casper and Billy might be the go-to duo midfield.
And do you know what, Dan? You say that
there.
pre-season, it was Casper and Billy playing in and that game against Charlton. And they was really, really good together. So they played a lot in the pre-season. So yeah, that could well be the partnership, and it would work. They'd counteract each other. Billy sits and Casper can dictate play. It is the perfect storm.
That's it.
On
We
that
just put in
point
the poll. Sorry, we just put in the poll. Leeds versus Millwall on Sunday. Who do you think? What do you think the result's going to be? Is it a Leeds win, a draw, or a Millwall win? All very level at the minute. So get yourself on there to vote. And also don't forget while you're there, just press the like button as well. Please.
I actually think as well, just on a side note.
If you're not already subscribed, then do subscribe too.
I'm not going, but I actually think a lot of the people from the podcast are actually going to be at Ellen Road on Sunday.
Yes, mate. I'm there.
Mickey's there. Stephen, you're going, aren't you?
No, Sunday.
Oh, you're not? Okay, I thought you was going to be going. Omer's going. I believe Ben's going as well. So,
I was going with me,
Ben's all over the northern ones.
I was about to say, that's
just a couple of things. That this point there, Billy did get an assist against Blackburn. I don't think it counted for him because the ricochets off of the Blackburn. It come off of Femi, and I don't think it counts. And there was a comment, and I am doing it because I'd had this conversation with him, and I said that I'd bring it up tonight. I think my dad commented about where does Kevin Nisbet fit if Neil Harris is going to be manager next season. Where does Kevin Nisbet fit in a Neil Harris side? Does he play?
I think he does. I think there's a player with Kevin Nisbet.
I think
he's
to be
a
honest,
great finisher.
Yeah, I think let's be realistic here. A lot of players you see sometimes can take him a season or so to transition into English football, especially because of his injuries. Maybe he is someone who could maybe thrive in the next season. Maybe he'll be someone that they keep around as an option. I don't know. I'm sure they're going to have some striker targets to get in the summer. But I think he's definitely be someone who they're going to want to keep around, especially considering they invested quite big money in him as well.
Yeah, I like this bit. He went on a little run as well, didn't he? Got that goal at Birmingham, and he scored like 3 and 3. And then earlier on in the season at Stoke, well took finish and was firing pre-season. I mean, he was firing goals galore pre-season. I thought we stepped on like a gem here. But I think there's a player there with Nisbet. I just think it's like you just said, Dad. It's taking him time to acclimatise himself, and next season he'll be better for it. And yeah,
it's better football, isn't it? Really, I suppose compared to Scotland. So,
yeah, and there's a finisher there. He's almost like got a bit like Gregory-esque about him. He's got a bit of good movement, and he can finesse that ball really well. And he finds them pockets. Guy's been out off season, has more goals than Bradders. Exactly. This is my point on Bradders. Anyone that wants to sign Bradders to a new deal, you might as well take £50 note out of your pocket and set it on fire, because that's what you're doing to it. But yeah, no, the striker position as a whole definitely needs to be addressed properly as a matter of urgency and top priority. I think we need a big man. I really do. We need a target type man for a plan B.
Bring back Matt Smith.
I'd love Matt Smith.
Someone in that kind of model. We do need someone like that.
Without a doubt, because we need to. If this is you need a plan B. You have to have a plan B. And at the moment, we've got 3 subpar 5'10" strikers, not very aerial. Quite low to the ground type strikers, a little bit of physicality, but not much. So we need a complete opposite to counteract it. Because if you want to play 2 up top, or you're 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go, you want to start smashing it in the box. So it does need to happen.
Matt Smith, league goal scorer in League 2.
He is. He's got 23 goals, and the thing with that is as well, Salford are 20th as well. They're not even doing very well. He's got 23 goals.
Yeah, and another thing.
If he was 23 and not 33, I'd take him.
Yeah, that's. Oh, I'm not saying we signed Matt Smith, but what I'm saying is that you know that.
What about?
Oh, crikey, Moses.
Hold on. He did score at Ellen Road, though.
He did, yeah. Just for those of you
listening, a 1-game contract.
Just for those of you listening as a podcast, Keith Casey's put in the chat. Tom Elliott's a free agent.
Nah, not a chance.
We need
Whittaker
that
from
6'9".
Plymouth. Who's got spare 15 million lying around then at the minute? Anyone?
Well,
got
I'll tell you what. If Sheffield Wednesday go down, I'll be calling them up about that Udogie, whatever his name is, Ugbo.
He's only on loan there at the moment.
Is
That's
he?
annoying.
Oh,
Yeah, he's on loan.
That's fair enough.
He was at Cardiff earlier this season. He did
Because that's a
okay
player.
for
I saw it when he come down to us. I thought, fucking hell, this is a handful. This fella.
Yeah,
I'd love to go after someone like that.
He's only on loan there. Another comment I'm just going to pop back up. I think Mickey did flash it up on screen. Could we go back in for Kiefer Moore? We could go back in for Kiefer Moore, but he would reject us again. I just can't be bothered being linked to Kiefer Moore, and we'll probably be linked for Jamal Lowe as well. For
I was just about to say
fucking Jamal Lowe. Yeah, no, we at some point we need to. But this is the problem with the black books that we have at the Den, where it's the same players every year we're linked with. They get a year older, their stats don't get any better, but yet again we want to bring them to the Den for some reason. We signed Matt Smith 5 years too late. We seem to sign these players too late when they eventually no one else wants them. They go, well, Millwall would definitely want me because they want me every year.
Yeah, Kiefer Moore will never sign for this football club. He would have signed for us by now. He's had 3 or 4 chances. He literally didn't come in the summer because he didn't want to. He didn't want to sign for Millwall, and that's why he's now at Ipswich.
No, that's it. Good evening, Millwall, Poland. Welcome to the channel and watching us. Thanks very much.
Yeah, it is a problem, though. It is a problem.
Lyndon Dykes would be linked with in the summer again. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd love Lyndon Dykes personally.
I don't actually mind Lyndon Dykes.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit about him.
Sam Gallagher.
Sam Gallagher.
I just think that's
too
much.
I like Sam Gallagher.
I do, but it's Kevin Nisbet.
I think a financial outlay for Sam Gallagher. I think Ipswich had like 2.5 million turned down for him in January.
Yeah. Do you know I'd love Luke Jukovic from Birmingham? If they go down, I'd absolutely take him at Millwall.
That would only be a 1 year solution because he's like 34 years old.
Yeah,
now.
He's getting on, but I'd absolutely take someone like that. Let's get Nikola Zigic on the phone and see if he must be out of a job.
Rob Hulse rejected us countless times and eventually ended up here. Look how well that turned out.
He did score a worldie, though. We can't forget that worldie he scored.
Yeah. What about Meyerhofer? Meyerhofer's a lump. Is he still out there?
That day at Middlesbrough, though. That
hat-trick at Middlesbrough, that was unbelievable.
Devante Cole. That's not a bad shout, actually. Devante Cole. He's been banging him in the last few seasons in League One. He has always struggled, but maybe the time might be right. He's coming into his prime.
That's it. I mean, that rumour's been flying around about the Stephen Naismith. I mean, but it come from a clickbait site, so whether or not there's any real weight into that, I don't know.
Putting our situation and two together, I think you look at all the clubs linked with them. They're all clubs that are potentially going to get rid of their manager or have done. So,
Jay's Golden Oldie Squad.
Yeah, mate. Bring them all back.
There was a quote, a comment. I think it might have even been Dave himself saying about bringing the average age down of the squad, which is, I think, the big thing. That's where I think the club's going to either make or break in the summer, because under Edwards that 100% would have happened.
Yeah, agree. And I think it needs to.
I reckon within the next couple of years, I reckon within the next few years, Steve Morrison will be here. Not as a player.
I think every chance when Harris goes, we go for someone else, and then maybe we go for Morrison after that, depending on how his career's gone. I mean, I think he has a poison chalice at Sutton. I think they'll probably keep him because they're not the most financially well-off club. But if he can do well in the National League, bring him back up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that comment from their oldest squad in the league. We have fact that this is what I'm saying. You can't just keep signing all the older players. I know we've said about Leonard, Saville, Hutch. We spoke about them, and we've got different opinions on them. But Harris is going to have to look at this team and go, we can't do this anymore. We can't have that. We've got to bring the average age down. There was a quote, another comment on there, really good one about Olafi. We've got a buyback option on Olafi. He scored goals in League Two. Stockport are doing relatively, I think even they might even be in the top 3 or at least in the playoffs. So he's done very, very well. Is that something that the club would look at? Who knows? But that would excite people more, bringing in someone like that, I think, than going for these older, journeyman players that perhaps. I mean, I'm not saying Alafi's the answer before anyone says that, but it would excite me more than buying a 33-year-old striker that's played for 20 clubs in his career or whatever.
Someone like you, unfortunately, Joe.
I mean, I don't think we've said yes to Morrison, but I can see it happening.
Yeah, everyone can see it happening.
I can see that Morris. He gets on with the board. He gets on with people within the club. So yeah, it's but does he have the experience and the thing? I don't know. But he definitely gets Millwall. So yeah, games change. You need athletes now to keep up with the pace of the game. You do need faster players now. You know the likes of. Back in the 70s, 80s, when you had wingers, and now you don't really have wingers in the game. I don't think you get anyone now of a young age training to be a winger now, do you? It's more of a
inverted forward or
or whatever.
That's where, though, and again, Harris's tactics and the way that we're playing, it's efficient, it's getting us results. But if you do need a goal and you need people that can take their fullbacks on, that's Honeyman and Duncan Watmore, who, whilst Watmore will run, and I don't ever see him actually take anybody on. That's where we do need to have that old school, Mayer, Brooke Norton Cuffy, who likes to take people on. I still think there's a place for it. I do
agree with Chris. Do you know what I mean? Realistically, why are we talking about League Two players? Because the Championship now is so different to everywhere else.
It really is. But if you look at, and again, another player, and it is a League Two player, Macaulay Longstaff at Notts County has scored so many goals.
We won't have the money. We'll have the money for him.
But how many clubs in the Championship would want to take a punt on him, do you think, if they could afford it?
I think a lot of clubs would take a punt on him, to be completely honest.
Which is why there are still gems to be had in League Two if you look in the right places, and League One as well.
I was about to say there's one, Ollie Watkins, but the problem is you have to find these guys before they've even played for the first team, because Ollie Watkins, I think Brentford sold him for like they sold Brentford for like £5 million plus a really good sell-on clause.
Jamie Vardy's another one, even what we did with Lee Gregory. We took Lee Gregory,
from, and Morrison as well.
Yeah, Morrison was at Stevenage, and Gregory where was Gregory at again?
Halifax.
He was with Vardy.
He was there with Vardy, yeah.
Yeah, with Vardy, yeah. So,
some duo they had, to be fair.
There is these players out there, you can shop in the lower leagues. You really can. But you have to hit. You can't have a guessing game. It has to hit or it's a miss.
Who's coming in the room, Dan?
I don't know. I heard someone coming upstairs, so I thought I'd close the door in case someone tried to walk in.
It's just made that room look really small, the way you just went onto the door where it looked quite far back, but you just literally put your hand across and done.
But going on to the recruitment, just sticking with that or finishing up with that so we can move on, is that we don't even know what league we're going to be in. We don't know what budget we're going to have. We don't know what players are going to be retained, what ones are going to be let go. That is a pod in itself at the end of the season.
At the end,
just
we know
recruitment.
What league we're in,
exactly. So we can speculate all we want on recruitment, but there's a lot of moving pieces before that happens. Even if Harris is still in charge, so. Yeah, there's a lot to go on before we start talking about the Kiefer Moores of the world, or whether we should actually be shopping in League Two, because that's where we've got to shop if we're in League One.
Yeah, no, I get that. Right, the gents, we've been going for about an hour and 40 minutes, and I think we're going to drag this to a close. So we will start in reverse order, and we'll go with you, Jay, first. Any final words, fella?
Do you know what? I haven't, because everything that we've spoke about since Harris has come in has been said over and over and over again, and this train just keeps rolling. Now, the only thing I want to say, pun intended. Now, the only thing I want to say is let's just fucking keep it up. Don't get your heads down. Don't let this little gap we've created now between us and the bottom three, this very, very small gap, this little bit of light we can see, do not let it take our eyes off of what's important. Don't let it distract us. Don't take our foot off the gas, because there's still a lot of work to be done. No one's expecting us to get anything at Leeds. No one's going to expect us to get anything West Brom at home. But we can, because we've proven that. And we're one of the most formed teams in the league. Take that belief, take it into Sunday's game, come away with 3 points, and that could be a wrap if results go our way again. Just keep our feet on the
Sunday, so we're going to be in a nice
so we'll know exactly what's going to happen when Sunday comes around. So just keep our foot on the gas. Don't let this little bit of light and this little gap, this mid-table look, take our mind away from things. Don't think we're safe, because we ain't.
Definitely not, Chris, mate. Definitely not.
Got it, Dan. Any final words, fella?
Yeah, it's been good to be back with everyone getting involved. Good to spend the night with you guys, even if it was a listening brief for about 20 minutes, listening to Mickey and Stephen going at each other. Usually I'm used to Mickey and Omer going at each other in the group chat, so it's nice to see Mickey can have a fight with someone else as well. But no, really good to be back. Yeah, and as Jay said, we've done so well in the last 2 games since Harris has been back. Feels like there's more unity and the club's been more galvanised really since arguably tail end of last season, arguably going even further back, to be completely honest. There's a really good feeling around the club at the moment. We actually go to Leeds now with a little bit of belief that we might be able to get something up at Ellen Road. We know what Harris is like up there and sometimes getting results. So obviously, as I said, I won't be there. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see what happens. And Omer and Joe or Ben, if you're still listening, we'll be doing a pre-recorded show in the week.
Yeah, I might even. But yeah, look out for stuff on Sunday because there might be some content up there. So yeah, we'll do some.
Yeah, we'll have to work out. We'll have to work out our plans for a Sunday night live next weekend. But
yeah, I'll be back.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, I'll probably be back. So yeah, Stephen, what do you want to say?
Well, just a couple of things from me. Last Sunday we had no Mickey. On Friday there was no me. But the dream duo of the lives of me and Mickey were back to have a little scrap. But as he said earlier, we're all good. We do this because we're passionate about the team and we love doing it. So it was good to have a show back with you, Mickey. And in terms of Millwall, 10 points from the last 12. Can't remember the last time we got a penalty. We've had one under Harris. Can't remember the last time we scored a 90th minute winner. We've had one under Harris. As Neil Harris said in his interview, he's never been fearful of going to Ellen Road as a Millwall player or Millwall manager, and it's not about to start. We can go to Leeds next week and win. It'll be tough, but we can go there and upset the odds.
That's fuck them.
Listen, we put the poll in Leeds versus Millwall, draw 39%, Millwall win 33, Leeds win 26. If that was, a few weeks back, mate, that would have been completely the other way round, mate.
Would have been about 90%.
Listen, right, we're going in with nothing to prove, nothing to lose, mate. It's just go out there all out, and I think it's time to go there and show them what's all about, mate. And everyone loves an upset at Leeds, mate. It's just great. So yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for joining us. In the chat somewhere and on the show notes after the show will be the link where if you want to join in with the new WhatsApp stuff we've got going on, then get yourself in there. All the boys are in there, and we'll just look to continue the shows going forward. Hopefully there are different groups for different shows, and hopefully at some point going forward some of you will want to get in, so we will be linking the WhatsApp into the chat so that if someone wants to leave a voice message then or a video message or whatever, we can then play into there. And then also there is one of the groups which is a match day, so again, if you want to get involved, where all of us are having conversations about the match and everyone else, that's now there's nearly 50 odd people who joined up already. It's only been live since yesterday, second half or whatever. So it's all good banter, and thank you very much as usual to join. Make sure you press like, make sure you subscribe. And if your mate hasn't seen us yet, why not just send them a link to the show?
And good night to Pat as well.
Who?
Good night to Pat as well. Thanks for tuning in, Pat.
Oh, Pat
come
Turner,
back, come back on Sunday night.
Yeah, that's it. Getting hit with 50 messages a minute. I don't care, mate. The other boys are all admin, they can deal with them. Anyway, that's it from us. See you later.
Oh, giddy up and get away. Oh, we're going Millwall and we're going today. Here we go. Rocking all over